They say it's a reboot, but you saw in the trailer Slimer's in it. Slimer's part of 1 and 2. So is it a 3 or is it a reboot? I don't know, and at this point, who cares? I feel like way too much controversy surrounded a movie over other big, much more relevant topics. And finally, that movie is upon us. It is the Ghostbusters remake, reboot, whatever the fuck it is. It's finally here. I saw it, so let's go ahead and talk about it. We got these 4 scientists, well, 2 of them are scientists, another one's an engineer, and then another one is a train stop operator who decide to unite so that they can rid New York City of all the supernatural activity that's going on. However, what's keeping them from fully achieving this goal is somebody's going around trying to release these ghosts to run chaos amongst that city. So in case you guys don't know, this movie had an awful lot of controversy behind it when it came to that very first trailer that everybody ripped it apart. And when I saw that trailer, there were things about it that I genuinely did find just a tad bit annoying, but then there were other things that I think I saw a little bit of potential. I'm happy to say that most of that potential is realized in the movie itself. Our 4 main Ghostbusters here, played by Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Leslie Jones, and Kate McKinnon, they are terrific. They have some amazing chemistry, and why wouldn't they? These all 4 actresses have worked before on Saturday Night Live, on other movies, and that really translates well with this movie where you can see their characters fully realized. And for the first half or so, the first 2/3 of the movie, their characters actually have a little bit of a backstory to them that ties them all together and gives them that chemistry. So when they get introduced one after another, you see this buildup of a team and having them get to know one another and also crack these jokes that are actually pretty funny, especially with the way they're edited and directed by Paul Feig. It actually comes together. Then Chris Hemsworth comes in, and I like this character. I do think that maybe they could have fleshed him out a little bit more, but I guess that's kind of the joke behind his character. I'm not going to say too much about him, but let's just say he does have his moments here and there where he does steal the show as a comedic presence. But there's something going on behind the scenes in that first 2/3 of the movie where there's this lingering subplot with this other character that ultimately becomes our villain. And when this person kind of unleashes their plan and the gears for that plan start to move, that's when I think in that final act the movie kind of runs out of steam a little bit for me, because I feel like they started to put style over substance. The cool character development that was happening kind of comes to a halt. Like, we don't learn anything more about these characters, and there were some clear windows of opportunity for them to kind of flesh these characters out a bit more, even until the end of the movie, but then it just stops, and then they decide to tackle the supernatural only, to the point where it becomes a humongous CG fest in the climax. And because we're not learning more about the characters, the chemistry, even though it's still there, it doesn't push the jokes any further. There's some quips here and there by the lead actresses when they're doing the climax that I just didn't find all that funny, at least not how it was in the beginning of the movie. And plus, this villain that I'm talking about, there's almost nothing to him. I mean, he could have been fleshed out a little bit better as well. In fact, there's little hints as to what could have made a very tragic story for him, but it just gets dropped for just a very typical cookie cutter villain. And speaking of cookie cutter, or at least cutting things from another particular property, there's certain scenes and certain beats in this movie that are going to be very reminiscent of the original, to where you're like, yeah, they kind of took that from the original. And that's where you get the impression that they're trying to aim for a reboot, but then you got Slimer in there, and then you got these cameos. I'm sorry, but the cameos kind of terrible. They're a little awkward. They cut to them in a very strange way, and some of these cameos, at least the people involved, have these lines of dialogue that are supposed to pay homage to the original Ghostbusters, and it just comes off as a little hokey. At first I felt bad that Harold Ramis unfortunately passed away a couple years ago to not have a cameo in this movie, but after seeing what they did with the original cast here, I'm like, you might be better off. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the movie in no way, shape, or form is terrible. It's not the heaping pile that a lot of people were making it out to be, including myself, from that trailer, because there's so many things that I was glad to have proven wrong, especially Leslie Jones as Patty. I was expecting her to be annoying from scene to scene, and by the end of it, I enjoyed her just as much as everybody else in this cast, because it is because of them that they anchored the movie for me and made it enjoyable for me. The movie itself, however, from a script perception, and I guess to a certain extent from the directing when it comes to that climax and that third act that doesn't really fully realize the characters and the potential that it has, the movie kind of lets its own cast down. However, the cast saves the movie from not only being terrible, but even being kind of meh at all. Does it change my mind about this being unnecessary? No, I still think it's unnecessary, but is it an enjoyable time at the movies for this summer? I'll say yeah. So I give Ghostbusters a very high 7 out of 10. It's a surprisingly good time with some other surprising elements about the cast that really did please me, but I feel like more than one thing out of that trailer ended up being correct about this movie. Those CG ghosts, not scary at all. You know what's scary? Fall Out Boy singing the Ghostbusters theme. That too, take a shot, there's a remix of the Ghostbusters theme in this movie. Oh my god. So guys, I ask you, what did you guys think of the Ghostbusters remake 2016? What property do you think should be remade, and what property do you think they should just leave untouched? You probably shouldn't say anything because at that point I feel like you'll be cursing it to get remade. Please post in the comments below, like this video, share it with all your friends, and please subscribe for future movie reviews coming out this summer, as well as Suicide Squad. I'm very excited for that. Gonna get my tickets. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time, but please answer me this. Who are you gonna call? Pokemon. Wait, what?